There is a lie that almost everyone believes, and it sounds so positive that no one questions it. You should always stay happy. You should avoid problems. You should chase success. You should think positive no matter what happens. It feels motivating on the surface, but deep inside, it creates pressure. Because real life does not work like that. Problems never disappear. Struggles never stop. And the more you try to avoid discomfort, the more it controls you. This is where everything starts going wrong. Because instead of learning how to deal with problems, people try to escape them. Instead of choosing what truly matters, they try to care about everything. And when you care about everything, you end up caring about nothing in the right way. This is the truth most people never accept, and that is why they stay stuck in the same cycle again and again. Alex believed this lie for a long time. He thought success meant always feeling good, always staying motivated, always moving forward without struggle. But reality felt different. The more he tried to stay positive, the more frustrated he became when things didn't go his way. Small problems started affecting him more than they should. Other people's opinions started controlling his mood. Failures felt personal, and slowly, without realizing it, he was losing control over his own mind. Because when you try to avoid negativity completely, even the smallest discomfort feels unbearable. And that makes you weak, not strong. Mark Manson introduced an idea that feels uncomfortable at first, but once you understand it, it changes everything. Life is not about avoiding problems. It is about choosing the right problems. Because problems will always exist. The question is not how to remove them, but which ones are worth your time, your energy, and your attention. This is where the real shift begins. Because the moment you stop trying to care about everything, you start gaining control. You become selective. You start deciding what truly deserves your focus and what is not. And that decision changes how you experience life. Alex started seeing this clearly. He noticed how much energy he was wasting on things that did not matter. Small opinions, temporary setbacks, unnecessary comparisons. All of it was draining him. And once he became aware of it, he started making a simple but powerful change. He stopped reacting to everything. He stopped giving importance to things that had no long-term value. At first, it felt strange, almost like he was ignoring things. But over time, something changed. His mind became calmer. His focus became sharper. And his energy started going into things that actually mattered. This is where the real power of this philosophy reveals itself. Not giving a care does not mean you become careless. It means you become intentional. You choose what deserves your attention. You accept that some things will go wrong. Some people will disagree. Some situations will be uncomfortable. And instead of fighting that reality, you accept it. Because once you accept that life includes struggle, you stop wasting energy trying to avoid it. And that gives you strength. There is another layer to this that most people ignore. When you try to be positive all the time, you create a fake version of yourself. A version that cannot handle real challenges. But when you accept discomfort, when you accept failure, when you accept that life is not always perfect, you build something real, something stable, something strong. And that is what creates confidence. Not fake positivity, but real acceptance. Alex could feel this shift happening. For the first time, he was not trying to control everything. He was choosing what to care about. And that choice gave him clarity. It reduced stress. It created space in his mind. And that space allowed him to think better, act better, and live better. Now think about this carefully. What if your biggest problem is not your situation, but what you are choosing to care about? What if your stress, your frustration, your confusion is coming from giving importance to things that don't deserve it? And what if you could change that? Because the moment you stop caring about everything, you start focusing on what truly matters. And that is where real control begins. And what you are about to discover next will take this idea to a deeper level where most people never go. There is something uncomfortable about life that most people try to avoid, and because of that, they never truly grow. Everyone wants success, everyone wants happiness, everyone wants freedom, but very few people are willing to accept what comes with it. Because every goal has a cost. Every dream comes with struggle. Every level of success brings its own problems. And the reality is simple. You cannot eliminate problems. You can only choose better ones. This is the truth that changes everything. Because the moment you understand this, you stop chasing an easy life and start building a meaningful one. Alex always thought that one day things would become easier. That once he achieved his goals, his problems would disappear. But every time he reached a new level, new challenges appeared. Different problems, different pressures, different expectations. At first, it felt unfair, like progress was supposed to remove struggle, not increase it. But slowly, he started realizing something important. The problem was not that struggles existed. The problem was that he was expecting them to disappear. And that expectation was creating frustration. Mark Manson explains this in a way that forces you to rethink everything. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of problems you are willing to solve, not by avoiding problems, not by escaping discomfort, but by choosing struggles that are worth it. Because every path in life has pain. The difference is whether that pain leads to growth or stagnation. If you choose comfort, you face the pain of regret. If you choose growth, you face the pain of effort. And that is a choice everyone has to make. Alex started looking at his life from a different perspective. Instead of asking how to avoid problems, he started asking which problems are worth solving. And that simple shift changed everything. He stopped running away from difficulty. He started leaning into it. Not blindly, not aggressively, but intentionally. Because now, struggle was not something to fear. It was something to choose wisely. This is where the second powerful idea comes in. Responsibility. Not in the way most people think, but in a deeper sense. You are not always responsible for what happens to you, but you are always responsible for how you respond. And that one idea changes everything. Because the moment you take responsibility for your response, you take control of your life. You stop blaming circumstances, you stop waiting for things to change, you stop depending on external factors. And instead, you start acting. Alex realized how often he blamed things outside his control. Situations, people, timing. It felt natural, it felt justified, but it also made him powerless. Because when you blame something outside, you give away your control. And once he saw that clearly, he made a decision. No matter what happens, I will take responsibility for my response. At first, it felt difficult, because taking responsibility means facing reality. It means accepting mistakes. It means letting go of excuses, but it also gives you power. Because now, your actions are in your control. There is a deeper layer to this. Most people think responsibility is a burden, something heavy, something stressful. But in reality, it is the opposite. Responsibility gives you freedom. Because when you accept that your response is your choice, you stop feeling trapped. You stop feeling like a victim. And you start feeling capable. Capable of handling situations, capable of solving problems, capable of moving forward. Alex could feel this shift happening inside him. Situations did not change instantly, problems did not disappear, but his mindset changed. And that changed everything. Because now, instead of reacting emotionally, he was responding consciously. Instead of avoiding problems, he was choosing them. And that gave his life direction. Now think about this carefully. Every day, you are facing problems. Some small, some big. Some expected, some unexpected. And the way you deal with them is shaping your life. The question is not whether problems will exist. The question is which ones you are choosing. Because the moment you choose your struggles, you start building a life that actually means something. And the moment you take responsibility, you take control of everything that follows. And what you are about to discover next will challenge the way you see failure and success completely. There is one thing that people fear more than anything else, and that fear silently controls their decisions, their actions, and their entire life. The fear of failure. It hides behind hesitation, behind excuses, behind overthinking, and it slowly stops people from even trying. Because in their mind, failure feels like the end. It feels like proof that they are not good enough, not capable enough, not meant for success. And because of that belief, they avoid risks, they stay in comfort, they repeat the same safe patterns again and again. But what they don't realize is that the real problem is not failure itself. The real problem is the meaning they attach to it. Alex had experienced this many times. Every time something didn't go as planned, he felt like he had done something wrong. Not just the action, but himself. It felt personal. It felt like a reflection of his ability. And that made him hesitate the next time. It made him doubt his decisions. It made him avoid situations where he could fail again. And slowly, without realizing it, he was limiting his own growth. Because when you try to avoid failure, you also avoid progress. Mark Manson explains this in a way that completely shifts your perspective. Failure is not something to avoid. It is something to learn from. Because growth is not a straight line. It is messy, unpredictable, and filled with mistakes. Every skill you build, every improvement you make, every level you reach comes through repeated failure. Not once, not twice, but again and again. And the difference between people who grow and people who stay stuck is not talent. It is how they respond to failure. Alex started looking at his failures differently. Instead of seeing them as proof that he was not good enough, he started seeing them as feedback, information that could help him improve. And that shift changed everything. Because now, failure was not something to fear. It was something to use. Every mistake became a lesson. Every setback became a step forward. And that created momentum. This is where the real growth formula begins to reveal itself. Pain is not something to avoid. It is something to understand. Because every meaningful goal comes with discomfort. Every improvement requires effort. Every level of growth demands something from you. And if you try to avoid that pain, you stay where you are. But if you accept it, if you lean into it, it becomes the path forward. There is another powerful idea hidden inside this. Most people measure success by external results. Money, status, achievements. But those are just outcomes. The real measure of success is internal. It is how you handle challenges, how you respond to failure, how you grow through difficulty. Because those are the things that create lasting change. Alex could feel this shift happening. He was no longer afraid of making mistakes. He was focused on improving. He was no longer trying to be perfect. He was trying to be better. And that small difference created a huge impact. Because now, he was moving forward without fear holding him back. There is a deeper layer to this that most people ignore. Your perception of failure is shaped by your values. If you value comfort, failure feels painful. If you value growth, failure feels necessary. And that is why changing your values changes your experience. It changes how you see situations, how you react to them, and how you move forward. Now think about this carefully. Every time you avoid failure, you are choosing comfort over growth. Every time you learn from failure, you are choosing progress over fear. And over time, those choices shape your life. Because failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. And the moment you stop fearing it, you start using it. And what you are about to discover next will show you how your values are secretly controlling everything in your life. There is something inside your life that silently controls almost every decision you make, and most people never even realize it exists. It is not your goals, not your habits, not even your environment. It is your values. The things you believe are important. The standards you use to judge yourself. The way you define success, failure, happiness, and meaning. And the dangerous part is that if your values are weak or unclear, your entire life becomes unstable. Because your actions will always follow what you value, whether you are aware of it or not. This is why two people can face the same situation and react completely differently. It is not the situation that defines the response. It is the values behind it. Alex had never thought deeply about his values before. He believed he wanted success, respect, and happiness, but those ideas were vague. They had no clear definition. And because of that, his actions were inconsistent. Sometimes he chased approval from others. Sometimes he avoided difficult situations. Sometimes he focused on short-term comfort instead of long-term growth. It felt like he was moving, but without direction. And once he started observing this, he realized something powerful. His life was not lacking effort. It was lacking clarity of values. Mark Manson explains that the problem is not that people have values. The problem is that they often have the wrong ones. They focus on things that are external, unstable, and out of their control. Things like approval, popularity, or constant happiness. And when your values depend on external factors, your emotional state becomes unstable. Because you are relying on things you cannot control. This is why people feel anxious, frustrated, and lost. Not because life is unfair, but because their values are not strong enough to handle reality. This is where the real shift begins. You need to choose better values. Values that are internal, controllable, and grounded in reality. Things like growth, honesty, effort, learning, and resilience. Because when your values are based on what you can control, your life becomes stable. Your emotions become balanced. Your decisions become clear. And that clarity creates confidence. Not fake confidence, but real confidence that comes from alignment. Alex started applying this in a simple way. Instead of asking what feels good right now, he started asking what actually matters. Instead of chasing comfort, he started valuing growth. Instead of avoiding mistakes, he started valuing learning. And that shift changed everything. Because now, his actions were not random. They were aligned with something deeper, something stable. There is another powerful layer to this. Your values determine how you interpret every situation. If you value comfort, challenges feel like problems. If you value growth, challenges feel like opportunities. The situation remains the same, but your experience changes completely. And that is what most people fail to understand. Life does not become easier. You become stronger by changing how you see it. Alex noticed this clearly. The same situations that once frustrated him started feeling manageable. The same challenges that once felt overwhelming started feeling like part of the process. And that change did not come from external improvement. It came from internal alignment, from choosing better values. This is where everything connects. Your habits shape your actions shape your results, but your values shape everything. They sit at the foundation. And if the foundation is strong, everything built on top of it becomes stronger. Now think about this carefully. What are you valuing right now? Are your values helping you grow, or are they holding you back? Are they based on things you can control, or things you cannot? Because the moment you change your values, you change how you see the world. And when you change how you see the world, you change how you live in it. And what you are about to discover next will bring all of this together into one powerful transformation. There is a level of freedom that most people spend their entire lives chasing, but very few ever truly experience it. It is not financial freedom, not social freedom, not even the freedom of time. It is something deeper. The freedom of not being controlled by everything around you. The freedom of choosing what truly matters and letting go of everything else. Because when you care about everything, you become weak. Your attention gets scattered, your energy gets drained, and your mind becomes unstable. But when you become selective, when you choose carefully what deserves your focus, something powerful happens. You gain control, not over the world, but over yourself. And that is the highest form of power. Alex could feel this transformation clearly. The same situations still existed, the same challenges still appeared. The same people still behaved the same way. Nothing outside had magically changed. But inside, everything was different. He was no longer reacting to every small thing. He was no longer affected by every opinion. He was no longer trying to control what he could not control. Instead, he was choosing his focus, choosing his problems, choosing his values. And that choice created stability, a sense of calm that he had never experienced before. This is where everything comes together. The idea of not giving unnecessary importance, the understanding of choosing your struggles, the acceptance of failure, the clarity of values. All of it builds into one powerful mindset. A mindset that does not chase perfection, but accepts reality. A mindset that does not avoid discomfort, but uses it for growth. A mindset that does not depend on external validation, but builds internal strength. And once you reach this level, your life starts changing in a way that feels natural. Most people think that happiness comes from having everything go right. But real happiness comes from knowing that even when things go wrong, you can handle it. That confidence, that inner strength, that ability to stay stable in chaos, that is what creates real peace. And that peace does not come from controlling life. It comes from controlling yourself. Alex realized something powerful in that moment. The goal was never to remove problems. The goal was to become strong enough to face them. The goal was never to be perfect. The goal was to be real, to accept flaws, to accept limitations, to accept challenges, and still move forward. And that acceptance created freedom, because now he was not fighting reality. He was working with it. There is a deeper truth here that most people never accept. You will always have limited time, limited energy, limited attention. And that means you cannot care about everything. You have to choose. And those choices define your life. If you choose wisely, you build something meaningful. If you choose poorly, you stay stuck in cycles that lead nowhere. Now think about this carefully. What are you giving your attention to right now? What are you choosing to care about? Are those things helping you grow, or are they holding you back? Because every choice you make is shaping your life, whether you realize it or not. And if this shifted your thinking even a little, if you felt that moment of clarity, then take that as your starting point. Do not wait for the perfect time. Do not wait for motivation. Start small. Choose what matters. Let go of what is not. And build your life with intention. And if you are ready to take that step, then do one more thing right now. Like this video so more people can discover this mindset. Share it with someone who needs this shift. And subscribe to the channel so you can keep growing with powerful ideas like this. Because this is not just about one book. This is about how you choose to live your life. And once you understand what truly matters, you stop wasting your energy and you start building something real.